Your account crosses $1 million on a Tuesday. $1,004. You stare at the number for a few seconds, then you close the app. No champagne, no screaming, no screenshot sent to the family group chat. You put your phone back in your pocket and go to work because nobody in your family knows. And for the first few hours, being a millionaire feels almost exactly like not being one. Same coffee, same clothes, same car, same people. But that number has quietly changed something. You just don't know what yet. 3 days later, your mother calls. The refrigerator stopped working. She isn't asking for anything. She just mentions it while talking about her day. A few years ago, you would have listened and felt helpless. Now you know you could replace it before dinner. So you do. $800. She asks how you can afford it. You tell her work has been going well. She smiles. And for a moment, this is exactly what you imagine money would feel like. Useful. Quiet. Good. Then your brother calls the following week. His car needs repairs. $2,400. He has most of it. He's short about $900. You send it. Then an uncle needs help covering a medical bill. Then a cousin asks whether you can lend him money for a business idea. Then your parents mention the mortgage. None of them seem unreasonable on their own. That's what makes this difficult. Because becoming your family's first millionaire doesn't suddenly surround you with villains. Usually it surrounds you with people you love who have real problems that you can now afford to solve. And that's when money becomes complicated. For most of your life, your family had one thing in common. Nobody had much money. When something went wrong, everyone understood the answer. We can't afford it. That sentence ended arguments. It ended dreams. It ended possibilities. But now there's someone in the family who technically can afford it. You. And suddenly every financial problem has another possible answer. Ask you. At first you like that. You remember what it felt like growing up when one unexpected bill could destroy the month. You remember your parents calculating groceries in the aisle. You remember repairs being delayed, trips being canceled, things breaking and simply staying broken. So helping feels like correcting something. Almost like you're going back through your childhood and paying off old pain, a new refrigerator, a medical bill, a repaired car, a better Christmas. You begin saying yes before people even finish asking, and that's the first trap, because the amount of money you're spending isn't actually the biggest problem. The pattern is, you teach everyone something without realizing it. When something goes wrong, you can fix it. And once people know there's a person who can fix things, they begin making decisions differently. Your brother was going to buy a used car. Now he's considering financing a newer one. Your cousin's small business idea becomes a much bigger business idea. Your parents begin talking about renovations they postponed for years. Nobody says, "You'll pay." They don't have to. Your existence has changed what's possible. And then something strange happens. You start hiding good news. You get a large bonus. You don't mention it. An investment performs well. You don't mention it. Your business has its best month ever. You type the news into the family group chat, stare at it, and delete it, because every financial success now has a second meaning. To you, a $40,000 gain means progress. To someone struggling with a $4,000 debt, it can look like an answer, and you begin realizing that wealth hasn't only changed what you can buy, it has changed what people believe you can absorb. A $500 problem feels enormous when you have $700. When you have $1 million, everyone assumes $500 means almost nothing. Mathematically, maybe they're right. Emotionally, they're not. Because once you start measuring every request as a percentage of your net worth, almost everything seems affordable. $1,000? That's 0.1%. $5,000? 0.5%. $10,000? Just 1%. And that's dangerous, because the question slowly changes from, can I afford to help, to, how can I say no when I can afford to help? Those are completely different questions. Then comes the request that changes everything. Your cousin calls. He's found an opportunity, a restaurant, good location, experienced partner, business plan. He needs $40,000, not as a gift, an investment. He tells you he'll pay you back first. He reminds you how close you were growing up, and then he says something you can't stop thinking about. You've already made it. 4 words. You've already made it. To him, the hard part of your financial life is finished. You crossed the invisible line. Millionaire, done. But you know something he doesn't. Most of your $1 million isn't sitting in cash, it's invested. Some is in retirement accounts, some is tied up in assets, some fluctuates every day, and more importantly, you don't feel finished. You remember exactly how long it took to build. The years of saying no, the boring car, the cheap apartment, the weekends spent working, the money you didn't spend when everyone else did. Your cousin sees $1 million. You see 10,000 decisions. So for the first time, you say no. Silence. Not anger, not immediately, just silence. Then he says he understands, but his voice changes. The conversation ends 2 minutes later. A week passes. At a family dinner, he's normal with everyone, except you. Nothing dramatic happens. Nobody screams. Nobody accuses you of becoming selfish. That would almost be easier. Instead, there's distance. And that's when you discover the second cost of being the first millionaire. Every boundary can look like judgment. You think you're saying, I don't want to fund this investment. He may hear, I don't believe in you. You think, I worked hard to build this. Someone else may hear, you think you worked harder than us. You think, I can't solve everyone's problems. They may hear, you could help, you just don't want to. And the worst part, sometimes both sides have a point, because money creates an uncomfortable imbalance inside relationships that used to feel equal. You and your brother used to complain about bills together, now he complains, and you listen. You and your cousins used to talk about jobs, now they ask you about investments. Your parents used to worry about you, now part of you worries about them financially. You haven't become a different person, but your role has changed. Then another head fake appears. You assumed the problem would be people constantly asking for money. Eventually, you realize that's not the hardest part. The hardest part is when they stop asking. Your father needs dental work. You discover he has been delaying it for 6 months. You ask why he didn't tell you. He shrugs. I didn't want to bother you. That hurts more than the requests did, because now you understand the other side. Some people aren't trying to take advantage of you. They're afraid of becoming a burden. Your success can create distance in both directions. Some relatives may expect too much. Others may ask for nothing because their pride won't allow it. Some celebrate you. Some compare themselves to you. Some feel inspired. Some feel behind. And some feel all four at once. Money doesn't invent these emotions. It gives them something to attach themselves to. So you try a different approach. Rules. Not rules for them. Rules for yourself. You decide what you're willing to pay for without resentment. Real emergencies? Yes. Parents' health? Yes. Education? Maybe. Consumer debt caused by repeated bad decisions? Probably not. Random business ideas? Not automatically. Loans to family? You learn to be extremely careful, because a loan between relatives doesn't behave like a loan from a bank. A bank can send reminders, charge interest, enforce contracts. You have to sit across from that person at Christmas. So whenever you give money that you can afford to lose, you stop pretending it's guaranteed to come back. That single change saves you from keeping an invisible scoreboard. But something else changes too. You stop announcing numbers. Nobody needs to know your exact net worth, not because you're ashamed, because numbers without context create expectations. Millionaire sounds like infinite money to someone who has never had much. It isn't. $1 million can mean security, options, time, a buffer against disasters, but it is not a magical account from which everyone can withdraw forever. And strangely, the richer you become, the more you understand why some wealthy people become private. It isn't always secrecy for the sake of ego. Sometimes privacy protects relationships, because once people know the number, they can never completely unknow it. Then years pass. Your parents' house is paid off, not because they demanded it, because you eventually chose to. Your brother is doing better. The cousin whose business you refused to fund? For a while, your relationship was awkward. Eventually, he started something smaller. It didn't make him rich, but it survived. And one night, he admits that starting smaller was probably better. Not every story resolves this cleanly. Some families fracture over money. Some wealthy relatives become controlling. Some families become entitled. Some successful people become arrogant and call every struggling relative lazy. Money doesn't automatically make either side right. It simply increases the consequences of getting the relationship wrong. And now your account isn't exactly 1 million anymore. It's more. But the number doesn't impress you the way you expected. What matters more is something you didn't understand when you started. Being your family's first millionaire isn't just a financial milestone. It's a new responsibility you never formally agreed to. You become evidence that someone from your family could do it. For younger relatives, that can be powerful. But you also become a mirror. People look at your life and compare it with theirs, and you cannot control what they see. So eventually, you stop trying. You help where helping genuinely improves someone's life. You say no when saying yes would only postpone the same problem. You give without needing gratitude. You keep boundaries without needing everyone to understand them. And you stop confusing love with financial rescue. Because if every relationship survives only while your wallet stays open, the money didn't strengthen the relationship, it exposed it. And that's the part nobody tells you when you're chasing your first million. You imagine the moment you'll finally be able to afford everything you wanted. But eventually, the harder question isn't what you can afford, it's what you should carry. Your parents' problems, your siblings' decisions, your relatives' ambitions, their emergencies, their expectations, their opinion of what you should do with money they didn't earn, but problems you can clearly see. $1 million gives you the power to change a lot of things, but it does not give you the power to make every person happy with the choices you make. And maybe that's the real transition. You don't become wealthy when everyone discovers you have money. You become wealthy when money stops deciding who you're allowed to be to the people you love. You can still be the son, the brother, the cousin, the person sitting at the same family table. You just happen to be the first one who crossed a number none of you had crossed before. And if you're careful, You won't be the last.